So a bear market could have a devastating on retirees, particularly if they're expecting to get income from their portfolio. And I've talked to a lot of people who think, that there might be this bear market coming with all the volatility, and they're really spooked. So in this video, I want to share with you how to think about your portfolio looking forward now that we are seeing more ups and downs in the market. But before I get there, subscribe to my channel. I have over 30 years of experience in this business, and I want to share with you the conversations I have with my clients, particularly on this very topic, so you know how to think about it for you and your household. So I've said this over and over on this channel. I really do believe our industry has done a lousy job of educating you in terms of retirement. A lot of the messaging is around, hey, if you just accumulate more money, you'll have more happiness. But that's not always the case. And it's interesting, over the last few years, the market has been fairly tame in the sense that there hasn't been a lot of volatility. And that lower level of volatility is actually abnormal. The normal is we have volatility, but we've sort of been seduced by all of the lower volatility, expecting this to be the new norm. And unfortunately, when markets are going up and down like they do, when it goes up, we feel good. And when it goes down, we don't feel good. And that's not a healthy way to enter into this next chapter of life, in that your happiness is based on whether the market is up or down. So I want to help you to level this out so that you can pursue a happy and healthier retirement and not have to worry so much about the markets. By the way, one of the things our industry doesn't tell you is that once you go into retirement and you depend at some level on your portfolio to take some income out, and if the markets do go down and you're taking income out at the same time, it can be a double whammy. It can be very difficult for you to get back to whole, back to square, and to do what you really want to do, which is to generate income, but also protect that principal when you've retired and the market goes down. For instance, going back to the tech bubble of 2000, 2001, and 2002, where the markets were down 3 successive years. Or you go to 2008, where the market was down 37%. If you had the unfortunate timing of retiring just before or soon before, a year or 2 or 3 before that was happening, then during those down years and you're taking income, some people, depending upon how they responded to the markets going down, may not ever recover. It may be a disastrous event for their retirement. So I really want to make sure, and I'm not here to tell you that a bear market is coming, but people feel that way, and we have to address the emotions and the psychology of the transition into retirement as much as the math. So let's get into it. Again, the industry talks about the math, but I'm here to tell you that, again, because of my experience and all the conversations I have with my clients, the emotions are typically more powerful than the math. Let me share with you a story. So I recently got a phone call from a client of mine who'd been with me, 20, 22 years. Now, he's recently turned 73. He retired about 1.5 years ago. And about 6 or 9 months ago, he also lost his wife to cancer. So here we have somebody where we've done the planning for him. We've put together the retirement roadmap. He's all set based on his particular goals and the assumptions that we have in his plan. The math indicates he'll never run out of money. Certainly, that is his and many others' fears, and the planning says he's okay. But he called me the other day. He wasn't okay. because he's feeling vulnerable. And his comment to me was, Mark, I'm now 73. So I talked to him. I said, so listen, we've been doing this for over 20 years now. The market is the market. What's changed is how you feel about where you are right now. And as you just said, you just turned 73, you just recently retired. Your world's a bit upside down right now. But we can't let those emotions undo the math, stray from the course of the retirement plan itself. Because what he was looking to do was, I can't do this. I want to go to cash. And as I explained to him, that was probably going to be a bad decision. And we talked about a number of events that have happened previously, and that we've gotten through all of them. And the only reason why he's thinking about this differently is because of the place that he finds himself in. And as he said, Mark, I'm 73 now. So we have to truly, from a financial planning perspective, understand and respond accordingly to how we feel and how vulnerable an event it is to retire, in addition to dealing with the math and the marketplace. So I know that the market tells you how important it is to deal with money management and specific investment selections and beating the benchmarks and all. But I specialize in the retirement planning transition for my clients, and I will tell you from my experience and what we share with our clients, it is so much more important now as you make the transition into retirement to do the planning first, rather than to just focus on the money management. Now, during your working years, and I've talked about it on this channel a lot, we call it the accumulation stage of financial planning, where you want to accumulate as many Benjamins as you can so that when you go to retire, your nest egg is great and you can generate the income that you need in retirement. And the focus of your conversations with your financial advisor typically just focuses on and emphasizes the success or failure of your money management. Well, as you go into retirement, it's now called, in the world of financial planning, the distribution stage. And this is where you are more interested, typically, in generating the income you need and protecting your principal. And therefore, the way you think about money management needs to change. And this is where we've developed for our clients, and what you should be developing for yourself, is what we call the personalized investment benchmark. Now, I want you to remember one thing. We are not invested for a day, a week, a month, a year. Our focus is much longer term. It should be 5 years, 10 years, 25 years out. Now, I'm going to give you a very interesting fact right now. Since 1914, according to Ned Davis research, there have been 33 wars or incursions that have happened. 33 of them. And here we are, and as you can see, the trend line for the Dow Jones is basically up. So why is this time, or why would we think of this time being any different now that we have the situation that we have worldwide, which has caused more volatility in the markets? Why do we think it's any different? Well, typically the answer is we're just older and feeling more vulnerable again, that we don't have the benefit of time on our side. And all of that is right, but we can't allow for that to change the way we manage our money. For if you do the planning properly and you develop your personalized investment benchmark. Now, the difference is with your personalized investment benchmark during your accumulation years, the benchmark typically was, did I outperform the Dow, the EFA, the NASDAQ, whatever. Now, when you go into retirement, it's different. You have your own benchmark. How much does your portfolio need to generate so that over the long run, you can get the income you need and protect your principal? That's your own personalized investment benchmark. And for many, it means that you don't need to take on as much risk. And certainly we don't want to take on more risk than needed in this stage of life, particularly when there's more volatility. So I'm going to give you 7 tips for you to consider as you move forward into retirement. But before I do that, in my latest book, Don't Outlive Your Money in Retirement, we developed a questionnaire. It's 2 minutes. Go up to my banner, fill out the quiz, and I will get back to you immediately which of the 3 retirement preparedness stages you are in. I'll get to you a free chapter of the book and a couple of worksheets. So you'll have a little bit more clarity with regards to whether or not you're on track for this next chapter of life. So here's 7 tips for you. First, know your goals. This is not unlike starting a business. You can't just open the door and expect people to come in and then you're going to make a lot of money. Successful business owners know what their vision is, know what they want to accomplish, and as important, what they want to stay away from, what keeps you up at night. Visualize, put down on a piece of paper. Make sure you and your spouse or partner, if you have one, are on the same page here to understand what your goals are, what you want to pursue, how much income you need, what your bucket list items are. Second, and it's more important than money management, this may be the most crucial thing that you do as you prepare for retirement, know your cash flow needs. It is understanding the cash flow, believe it or not, that will drive so much of the decision making you have moving forward into retirement. And it'll also inform you as to how much risk you really do need to take with your investments. So take the time to do that. Tip number 3, know how much to take from your portfolio and where. So sometimes you may be better off taking it from a taxable account versus an IRA account to reduce the impact of taxes. But you need to understand and time out in the different stages you will be in retirement. And there's 3 of them that we talk about in the book, in terms of how much income you need, where it's coming from, and again, how to keep more of what you generate than what you'll pay in taxes. Tip number 4, plan for down years. Now, I find that typically people want to plan for perfect. When we're going and markets are going up like this, or we think about our houses too, the value's going up, it'll never come back down, right? Real estate values will never come back down. Markets will never come back down, but they do. They go up, they go down, they go up, and hopefully the long run is, certainly no guarantees, but we've seen it for a lot of years now, the market's long-term trend is up. But when you go to retire, I've mentioned this word before, vulnerability, you're most vulnerable the first couple of years that you retire. So instead of saying, I am going to generate 6% return forever in retirement, put in your planning that the first 2 years will be down. Whether your calculator can do it for you automatically, or you put in maybe the first year it's down 6% and the next year it's down 15%, whatever numbers you can do in your calculations. But plan for a couple of down years, because that can have the most impact, not only on your math, but on your emotions. Tip number 5, do not take on more risk than you need. Based on your personalized investment benchmark and your cash flow needs, you should be able to ascertain how much risk you need to take. And for many, it will be less risk than you had taken maybe in your 401k, because you were younger, you had more time, you could afford to overcome mistakes earlier. But now you don't have the benefit of that much time anymore. So be careful that you don't take on more risk than you should. Tip number 6, rebalance. This does get back to the money management conversation. And what it is important here, and I'll take you back to the late 90s, what we were calling in 2000 the tech bubble. What happened was People were invested in growth and technology in their portfolios, which may have been 50 or 60% in equities because the equities had done so well. If they didn't rebalance, then that 50 or 60% may have gotten up to 70 or 80 or 85%. And then when the market corrected for 3 straight years, you got crushed. What you need to do is rebalance it. Make sure you continue to be along the lines of not taking on more risk than you need to. But if things are going really well, sometimes you want to make sure that you pare it down a little bit so you're not exposed to more risk than you should be. The last tip, really important. Divorce yourself from the headlines. Every single day we are getting streaming information on all the things that are going on with the world. Most of it is not good because they don't necessarily tell us all the good things, right? It's always bad and negative news. We can't let that drive our decision-making process. Remember, the planning for your retirement is for the long haul. It's not for today, tomorrow, a week from now, or a month from now. It's long-term. Don't let the headlines drive your decision making and allow for you to change a plan that should be working for you because today the headlines were not good.